Hello again, everybody. It's Scott Casper, Takedown Wrestling. We cover the sport of wrestling coast to coast, border to border. We go more central this time. We go to Colorado Springs in the Olympic Training Center to talk with number 2 on the list at 97 kilos. And you know, if you're number 2 on the list at 97 kilos, that means you're only behind one guy, an Olympic gold medalist, Jake Varner. Well, Dustin Kilgore joins us today. We're going to talk about being number 2. We're going to talk about the national team performance he had, the world team trial performance, and all that. Dustin, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
You guys are hanging out. You and John Reeder are hanging out right now, and apparently you guys have put together a pretty good friendship. Talk to us a little bit about you and John Reeder and the trouble you guys are getting into in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, we're getting lots of trouble, scrapping hard. We're enjoying it. I never really had John. I never really got to know him until he moved out here last year. It's almost been a year that he's been out here in September. And we've just been having a ball, having a good time with him and Coach Slay. We've got kind of like this awesome trio going on of just, being able to train together and really focus on our sport and just become better as athletes and individuals. Mm-hmm. So it's on and off the mat that we're becoming better people. And Coach Slay has been a great mentor and coach all the way through everything.
You know, it's amazing that the three of you would get together. Brandon, of course, always searching for greater gold, and then John Reeder seemingly having a pretty good grasp on his faith, willing to share it with others. I don't know anybody that can text me entire Bible verses as quickly as he can. I don't know if he's copying or pasting or if he's just that good at texting. Which is it?
He's pretty good at texting. I'll tell you what, when I'm with this guy, it's driving somewhere, trying to give him directions or something, show him something. It's like, John, hey, over here, look, over here. He's texting at every stoplight. He's texting out as many words as he can before the light turns green. And it's just funny because he's always on his phone. I mean, we'll be walking down to practice or anything, but we'll be sitting in the room and hanging out, and it's just like trying to have a conversation with this guy. He's always on his phone. You got to yell at him sometimes, like, John, hey, I'm right here. Get off your phone.
He loves the text.
He loves the text, man. He's good at it. So, it's he's a character, man. It's
what do you think, and this is an all-encompassing question, what are you good at? Other than the wrestling, obviously you're exceedingly good at wrestling. You proved it at Kent State. You proved it on the international scene. You just got back from Hungary where you took second in the University Worlds. What else are you good at? Maybe people don't know. Maybe do you play the piano? Do you collect stamps? What is it? What else trips your trigger?
I'm good at walking on my hands, I'll tell you that. But when it comes to side of wrestling, I don't know if I'm the best at it, but I'll tell you some of the hobbies I have. I enjoy, obviously I'm out here in Colorado. I love the mountains, so I'm an outdoorsy kind of guy. I love fishing as much as I can, as often as I can. I get out. I love to get out, do some fishing, and hunting as well. I just love the outdoors. I grew up, my dad, since I was little, taught me how to shoot, taught me how to fish, and I've traveled all over the country, different places, fishing. I like to go back to Ohio, do some hunting, get out on our farm, have a good time. I grew up riding four-wheelers, dirt bikes, that kind of thing. So, I'm an outdoorsy guy. I love camping and just anything to get away from the city here and there. It's great just to kind of get away from wrestling. Wrestling, it occupies so much of your life that it is your lifestyle. It is your career. But, you want to get outside of that and just kind of relax the mind, rest a little bit and, kind of ease up on the training every now and then. So, the mountains out here are a great place to just kind of escape and get away from all that. John and I, we've got a great little place in the mountains that we go to do a little fishing. It's called 11 Mile Canyon. We go back there and just have a little fun, catch some trout. But
and then do you cook them and eat them?
I'm not. It's kind of funny. I'm not really a big fish eater, but I just love to catch fish. So usually for me, it's catch and release. When I go home, I'll catch a few steelhead or something. I'll give them to my dad. But I'm really just kind of a catch and release guy. So
when we were producing the outdoor TV show Outdoor Encounters, we practiced something called CPR, catch, photo, and release. And people would see us throwing back, 7, 8 pound walleyes and 13, 14 pound northerns. But man, I tell you what, when it comes to trout, it's hard for me to throw a trout back. That pan fried trout, man, that's a whole different meal right there.
Yeah, well, we've got all 4 species out here. We got your cutthroats, your browns, and your rainbows and and brookies. So we've got them all out here, and I've caught them. So I love it. They're beautiful, but I just like to release them, let them go, and catch them another day.
Are you a fly fisherman, or are you to catch them on a reel?
I do fly fish, but I spin as well. And then if I'm going for some northerns, I'll get bust out the bait caster and have a little fun with that. But yeah, I mean, mainly I'll tell you what, it gets difficult back in these mountains. They see so many flies and so many people fishing for them that you kind of wait for the sun to go down over in the canyon. So around like 7 o'clock, the fishing picks up. And I'll tell you what, when you're not casting a shadow and you just throw a little spoon out there, a little Castmaster spoon. They start nailing it right away, and it's great.
You're just lighting up when you're talking about this fishing.
Yeah, man, I love fishing. That's my life right there.
Well, you also mentioned hunting. So, are you a bow, shotgun, rifle? What are you using when you go hunting?
Rifle, shotgun. I do a little deer hunting back home. We back in Ohio, you're not allowed to hunt with a rifle, so it's slug. Slug and muzzleloader mainly. Bow. I did a little crossbow for the first time last winter. I didn't get anything, unfortunately, but I just love being out in the woods too, just on the hunt, just kind of sitting still and kind of waiting for the deer to come by you. It's the thrill of the hunt. It's fun and it takes you back. I mean, that's how this country started. People had to hunt. So, and I think people kind of get away from that. You have a lot of people that are anti-gun, anti-hunting, the cruelty of it all. But when it comes down to it, that's how this began, and you wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for people that started out like that.
You would think, as good an athlete as you are, and I think your stats prove that out. Watching you compete in many different locations around the country and catching as much video of you wrestling as I possibly can, you would think, as good an athlete as you are, you would be a great baseball player. Have you been working on your pitching?
Listen, I've got a better pitch than that. It was a big crowd, but I wanted to look good. It was funny because I went out there. I'm stepping on the base, and before me we had two kids go that got to throw a pitch out as well. And these kids are like 8 years old. There was a little boy and a little girl, and they're throwing their pitch, underhand to get to home plate. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna throw a little bit faster one so I don't look like one of these little kids out here throwing the ball. Right. I tried to throw it a little hard, and I guess I didn't have enough practice, and I kind of lobbed it into the ground. But I got into the catcher's mitt. That's all that matters.
Well, what throwing from a mound is really different than throwing from a level surface. People don't really understand how difficult that is. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not making excuses for you. I'm just saying.
No, hey, I'll take that. I could have lobbed it nice and easy over.
Yeah, right. Well, Dustin Kilgore's our guest. Adidas didn't sign you because you're a great baseball player. Adidas didn't sign you because you're a great hunter or fisherman. They signed you because you happen to be an incredible wrestler. When you first signed with Adidas, what was that like for you?
It was exciting. I'm with Cradle Gear right now, so I have that clothing sponsorship. But they came across the idea of being able to sign up with Adidas, and of course, obviously, Adidas. Growing up, as popular as they are, you want to be able to say, "Yeah, I'm sponsored by Adidas," so that's a great thing. It's awesome. I've enjoyed being a part of the team. Tim, he's helped us out a lot. Personally, he's just a great guy. I haven't met him personally yet. I guess he was out in Vegas for the U.S. Open, which I could not make due to my surgery. But I've heard that he's a great guy. He's really quick with responding to emails, so he seems like a really nice guy. And I love the shoes, the Combat Speeds. I've never worn any Adidas shoes before in my life. It was always pretty much Asics. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to give them a try. I've always liked the Combat Speeds. I just never bought a pair and tried them on. And honestly, I put those on, and those things are awesome. I love them.
You still haven't bought a pair of Adidas Combat Speeds.
Still haven't bought a pair.
That's one of the great things of being signed by Adidas, right? You get your shoes.
It's nice. The Combat Speeds are awesome. Right now I'm wearing the red and blacks, and those things are awesome. I'm quick in those. Some good traction. I'm quick.
You're quicker than most 97 kilo guys should be. I'll tell you what. And we'll get back to your speed here in just a moment. People calling in to talk to you on the live line, but I'm not going to take the call, so we'll just depart from that. Real quick, I want to talk to you about Cradle Gear. You mentioned Cradle Gear, and I want to mention Jason Gillis. He's been with guys like you and John Reeder and others for a long time, helping you guys achieve some financial needs and help you meet them. That has been a really special relationship, Cradle Gear has been for you and guys like John Reeder. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, I'm probably the closest to Cradle Gear and Jason Gillis than anyone else on the team, honestly. Gillis I've known ever since, I was on my recruiting visit to college, to Kent State. He's an old Kent State alumni and really good friends with our head coach, Jim Andrasey. So, he's another guy that's just pretty much, I kind of feel like he's part of the team. He'd always be there for a lot of our matches and tournaments and things, and he's a real upbeat kind of guy too. And he's done a lot for me personally, and I respect him a whole lot because of things that he's done. He's helped me out, and he's just overall he's a super great guy, and I love having him in the room when I'm back home, and just seeing him. Maybe meet up, go get some lunch or something. He's done a lot for me. He's a great guy.
Kind of guy that doesn't have to do what he does, but he does it and never really expects anything on the other side.
Yeah, that's true. He's done a lot for, I think, a lot of people, and he doesn't expect a whole lot in return. He doesn't really, the things he does in life, he doesn't really do for himself, but he does for others as well. And you have to respect a guy like that because he's put out a lot of money to help people, and he's been a really nice guy. He's taken a lot of people out to dinner when we go out to tournaments and things. So, he's very respectful, and he's enjoyable to be around. He's a funny guy. I love hanging out with him, and he's a Kent State alumni, so I grew up with him through my college career, and it's just great seeing him.
Got some great sport coats he does, I'll tell you that right now. All right, so University World Team, you mentioned surgery. Describe the surgery to us. What was the injury and where you're at on recovery?
So back when we had our World Cup in L.A. back in March, I believe, I wrestled my first match, and I ended up, it was kind of weird. I teched the guy, went out there, teched him, and the next day I come in and I woke up. I noticed my knee was kind of feeling a little sore and a little swollen on the side. It was my right knee, and I didn't think much of it. Went on to wrestle at NCAs. We had that duel against India. Went out there, beat the guy up, felt great condition-wise, and pretty much my body felt great. But then again, my knee, it was still kind of bothering me. I had a tight little knee pad sleeve on it with a knee pad over that, and it was starting to worry me. I didn't really know what to expect, so I got back to the training center, had it checked out, and here it was. I tore my my meniscus. So it wasn't anything real bad. I talked to a few people that have had meniscus surgery. Zeke actually was one of them. He told me, hey, he competed like 10 days after a surgery. And so, a week later, I think it was that next week, I went in for surgery. My meniscus was torn. The surgeon said it was torn pretty bad, and it was actually flipped over too. So it was kind of folded and torn at the same time, and that's why I was having a lot of problems in there. Got the surgery, and about 10 days later, I started lifting again and training and getting on the mat. And it took a little time for the swelling to go down, but honestly, right now I can my right knee, I can feel kind of there's some nerve damage that was probably done that if I pinch my knee, I can't really feel that. But my knee's gone down pretty much all the way, maybe a little bit of scar tissue left, and it's doing great. And the plan there, when it came down to it, I sat down with Coach Slay, and we discussed about the U.S. Open, whether or not I wanted to hold off until afterwards or have the surgery done before. And I think we both agreed that the best would be, to have it taken care of sooner. That way I was already qualified for the World Team trials. That way I could just kind of have a little more healing time and time to strengthen my knee up and be ready. And, honestly, that was the best choice. As much as I wanted to wrestle the U.S. Open, that was the best thing I could have done. I went into World Team trials feeling excellent. My knee wasn't bothering me. I just made sure to keep a knee pad on it, and everything was good. Turned out great.
For an athlete such as yourself at such a high level, injuries like that, do you ever go, oh my goodness sakes, I've got a terrible injury here? Does that ever go across your mind? Does it ever get in there and mentally kind of screw with you a little bit?
No, honestly, I'm so used to wrestling for so long, just getting bruised up, banged up here and there, and honestly, you just need when you come to a period where your body's just aching and you just feel sore and broken down, you just need some relaxation, some rest. Fortunately for me, this was my first surgery ever, and it wasn't that big of a surgery. And I'm grateful that the worst that I've encountered was just a meniscus tear, and something that 15 days later, 14 days later, I'm ready to get back on the mat and start wrestling again. So. Honestly, there's just those times where your body's aching. You just need to kind of, I kind of tell Coach Slay sometimes, hey, could I take the rest of the day off or something, or could I have tomorrow off? Just kind of heal up if I do feel like something is bothering me. I've had a lot of minor problems, with fingers or back muscles tightening up, but honestly, I'd rather have those than tear something or break something any day for sure.
Well, it's always a question for me because you guys go so hard, not just in competition but in practice. You go so hard, and things happen, and then there's the healing process. And being surrounded by guys that have had various surgeries, whether it's Brandon Slay or Zeke Jones or Bruce Burnett or whoever, you just never really know what it does to an athlete mentally. So I'm glad that that's not the type of thing that bothers you. Let's talk a bit about your coaches, specifically Brandon Slay. When you were told that Zeke Jones was going to be leaving as the head coach of Team USA, what was your initial thought?
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard, and honestly, John and I mean, we were a little worried because of the position that Slay is in. We didn't want him to really be, and we've told him this too, it's kind of funny, we didn't want him to become the head USA wrestling coach, and we didn't want him to lose his spot. But we understood Coach Slay obviously had to try and get the position, which Bruce Burnett has now as the head USA wrestling coach, and just to kind of secure his own job and his own future. So honestly, if Slay would have had the head coaching position, he wouldn't be in the room as often, and therefore we would honestly probably have a new coach in the room with John and I. And we love Slay a lot. We love having him in the room. We told him, we're like, hey, honestly, we want you to stay right where you're at. We don't want you to get that job. We're going to be rooting against you to not have the job. We know you're trying to get it because you want to secure your future, but we don't want to lose you. We want to have you in the room. And that's the kind of relationship that we've built up with Coach Brandon Slay, and we're really close. We have such a great bond with him, and we're comfortable. And we love traveling. We love competing, having him in our corner. We trust him fully. And just kind of for me, honestly, I was in Colorado Springs when I took my Olympic red shirt. I was out here for about 15 months, so I've known Slay a little longer than John personally as a coach, and so I have. You could maybe say I have quite a bit more trust in him, and it just feels awkward just to have him leave and not be in the room coaching us, and for us to have to put our trust into someone else and believe that they're going to help us to get to the top level that we need to be.
Part of being at the top level is listening to your head coaches. You're obviously on track with Zeke Jones, or some of us call him Larry. You're on track with him, then all of a sudden he announces he's going to be departing and going to Arizona State. In steps Bruce Burnett. How much contact had you had with Bruce Burnett prior to him taking the position, and what's the experience been like since?
Honestly, I didn't have a whole lot of contact with Bruce Burnett. He had come in the room out in Colorado Springs a few times, but I never really got that close to really get to know him. But honestly, now that he's stepped in, I love the guy. He's a great guy, and I think he's he had like 13 World Cup titles under his belt. He's been to many World Championships and, Olympic champion or Olympics. He's been to the Olympics multiple times. So, he has the kind of career and background that you want in a head coach. Zeke Jones was a great coach. I loved having him around. He was very technical, which I love that about him. He was very smart with his planning and his technique. He was very technical with his wrestling, and I think that he helped bring us up to such a great level of USA wrestling and competing in the world. I think he did a great job of getting us to where we needed to. But unfortunately, he's the Arizona State head coach now, and I think he's going to do big things there. And I love Bruce Burnett, so honestly, I'll take either one of the guys. But Bruce seems like a great guy. It's great to have him step in. If we don't have Zeke, it's great to have him. And I think he's going to do big things as well. He's got a great training plan, and he's a technical person as well. I think it's going to be very enjoyable having him around.
You mentioned Zeke going to Arizona State, and That's Sunkist territory, and you're
Yeah.
a Sunkist Kids guy. Is there? I would think that would be a benefit to you.
No, no, I love it in Colorado. I'm going to stick out here and enjoy it. But Sunkiss has done a lot for me, and I appreciate everything they've done. And maybe there will be a benefit of us being able to have some camps out in Arizona State here and there, and Zeke would be coaching us. So I think that's a great thing as well, because I'm sure there will be some Sunkiss camps held out there. And fortunately, we do have Zeke out there now. So if we do have a camp, I'm sure Zeke will be one of the guys coaching us and helping us to better our freestyle.
Let's take a look at 97 kilos if we can. Varner sits in the catbird seat, wrestling for the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club out of State College. And then there's you in the number 2 spot. And then we look at the balance of the field. Your Jack Jensens, your Cam Simez's, Zabriskis, Buraks, Pendletons, Wins. Deron Wynn, for example, was in the studio on Saturday doing the radio program. And I got to tell you, he was pretty good. If he ever stops wrestling, he's welcome in the studio anytime. But now you've got, and then there's J.D. Bergman, a man that can go through totaling his vehicle and come out with just a piece of glass in his pocket. I'm not sure how that works, but somebody's looking out for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's great. It's we definitely have some depth at this weight class. And, I've always said it's wrestling. Anything can happen. That's so true. I mean, honestly, anybody could any given day just have a great day or a bad day. It can be a huge difference just between how much sleep you got the previous night of your match to becoming the world team member and becoming not even making the national team. So there's so many little factors that go into wrestling: how you're eating, how you're sleeping, how you're training, how you're mentally preparing. That it's honestly, it builds up so much anxiety, and you just kind of unleash it when you get out there on the mat. So it's crazy how it all works out, but in the end, I'm thankful for the ability that I have and where I've come. I've come a long way to making the national team multiple times, and my true passion is to be an Olympic champion, and I want to make this next year's world team. So.
And we do have to go through the next World Championships. We have to go through this one and then another before we get to 2016 and the Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. That's your ultimate goal. And this, I want you to understand that this is just an honest, forthright question. How real is that goal in your mind right now? Do you see yourself at the 2016 Olympics?
I definitely see myself at the 2016 Olympics. I feel like I'm not that far behind Jake Varner, and I've got a lot of guys on my tail as well as Jake. So it's always going to have that kind of looking over our back and watching out for the guys that are sneaking up, because you have some guys that honestly just kind of sneak under the radar. For instance, Cale Byers. I think that he threw off a lot of people when he beat J.D. Bergman, and then I wrestled him, and I hadn't felt him wrestle like that in a long time. And, you have to always kind of remember, you've got these guys, this is wrestling, you can't overlook anyone. But, to me, this is a very realistic goal. This is something that I've trained for, I'm truly passionate about. I'm doing the best I can and all that I can. And it's great to have someone like Coach Slay who has the experience, who has been through the Olympics. And, he's been an Olympic champion, so he knows what it takes. And honestly, I don't think there's any better coach that I could have than someone like him. And so for me, having the coaches, the resources that I have, living at the Olympic Training Center, this is a very realistic goal for me completely.
That's a neat guy to be able to model yourself after, to be able to learn from. I remember when he won his Olympic gold, and we hugged each other, and the emotion that came through him is very contagious. His knowledge, his joy of life is also very contagious. I think he's able to, and I don't know if compartmentalize is the correct term, but maybe it is, to be able to compartmentalize wrestling and wrestling's place in our lives, and then to be able to channel the energies correctly. Am I describing it right?
Yeah, he's a very influential human being. He's done so much for me, and not just me, as he's done a lot for other people as well. He's coached a lot of people. He's done a lot of camps. He's a great personal speaker, motivator. He's done a lot for a lot of people, I think, and I think a lot of people look up to him as well. And it's good to have someone like that to look up to, just because we share the same goals. He may have completed his, mine may not be completed yet, but just knowing that we're on the same page, I think helps a lot.
Does he help you establish goals beyond the mat? I guess that would be the better
yes,
question, because you say he's established or he's completed his goals. I'm pretty confident there's probably other goals that he has beyond personal medals and things like that. But would it be fair to say that his goals right now would be to include making sure his team does the best it possibly can do as far as performance goes?
Oh yeah, definitely. Slay's honestly, I don't think I've ever heard him say one negative thing. He's probably the most positive person I know, more positive than John.
Wow.
Honestly, and John's a very positive guy, but there's been so many times where maybe one of us has lost a match and we're just feeling down about it. Slay doesn't just sit there and he doesn't talk your ear off and burn you off the mat and make you feel bad. He tries to build you up, and he tells you about the things that you did great, but the things you need to work on. He doesn't break you down or anything like that, make you feel bad. He's just very uplifting. He's very high spirited, and he just wants to help you out. Honestly, his true passion in his life is to help people, and I've never seen somebody with that passion as much as he has. At least I've never known anyone personally with that the ability that he has. He's just a very caring, loving person to his family, his friends, and he's not just all about wrestling. It's off the mat too. We go out, get some sushi, hang out, do something, go up in the mountains with him, and he just wants to be a part of our life, not just the wrestling aspect of it.
We're talking with Dustin Lee Kilgore. He's an Adidas and Cradle Gear athlete. He's training now at the Olympic Training Center and has for a while. He's one of the bright spots for Team USA. And this is the point of the conversation where, and there's a difference between throwing somebody under the bus or putting him in the penalty box. Okay, there's a complete difference, because penalty box guy gets to come back out. Okay. And under the bus guy doesn't get to come back out, okay? So, considering that this is a penalty box, what country do you really want to face? Who is it that just absolutely makes Dustin Kilgore, you know what? I am the best when I'm wrestling. Who? So who goes in the penalty box today?
Right now, I got to tell you, it's probably the Turks. I've wrestled 3 times. I think I've wrestled guys from Turkey. 2 of the times I got punched in the face, and I feel like I need to get some revenge on the last match from the University World Championship. So honestly, that's who I'm feeling. That's who I'm hating right now.
That's it. That's what it's living in there, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's building up.
Who was it that punched you in the face? Can you even pronounce his name?
Man. It was I remember my very first match overseas ever. I wrestled the Turk. I can't remember his name. He was 2nd and 3rd in the World Championships. I ended up beating him. It was a close match, but that was my first match. I just came off of my college folk style, so I'm just going crazy, just a lot of movement, pulling on the head, and foreigners don't like that. They don't like how hard we go, and that we have such great conditioning. And I think he just kind of got fed up and had it with me, and he just threw one uppercut right in my jaw. And as much as I wanted to fight this guy, I have Coach Slater in the corner just telling me to keep it cool and kind of take it easy. And it worked out in the end. I prevailed. I won the match, and I got to kind of rub it in the guy's face by winning, so it was nice.
Okay, so the Turks are going in as a team? Can they go in as a team, or would it be individually?
Yeah, throw them all in there.
Throw them all in the box.
That's right now I hate them all.
Okay, all right. So next question would be World Championships are going to be where?
The World Championships will be in Uzbekistan, Tashkent,
Uzbekistan.
Tashkent, Uzbekistan.
That's this year. And then there's the magical year when we return to the United States for the World Championships.
Las Vegas,
Nevada. That has got to be on your radar, is it not?
Oh, it is, man. I mean, what better place to go in there and make the world team and win a world title than on your home turf, That's great to just have all these people. We have this big thing with the Russians, and, to have Azerbaijanians, Iranians, Georgians, Turks, Ukraine, all these different people that we've battled with, and to beat them on our own homeland, what's better than that right there?
And they're going to be so distracted by the bright lights big city, because most of those countries, I think they have electricity, a lot of those countries, But I'm just teasing you. But you're right. I think there is something very special about that opportunity, and to be able to follow through and do it, I think would be outstanding. Is Team USA in better condition right now? Say the top 5 guys in each weight. Is Team USA in better condition right now than it was, say, 5 years ago?
Yes, I would definitely say that is for sure. Previously, I competed in the University World Championships. We had the Cadet World Championships. We have the FILA Junior World Championships coming up here in Croatia this week. And all these teams and our men's world team, everyone has just done a phenomenal job. And at the Pan Am Championships, we've just done an outstanding job overall as a country. And, it's really exciting times, I think, for Team USA because we have such a high level of intensity of talent that we haven't had in maybe years. And, I think Americans have a lot to look forward to. We've got some great people coming up and coming younger guys. And, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun competing, making some teams, and just destroying some foreigners, taking them out. Really show this world that we're the top team.
What, is Reader trying to get in, or who's banging on the door?
Oh, no, that was my hand.
Just teasing. John can't come in.
He's actually in Iowa right now.
Huh? Is he in Ames?
Yeah, he went home for a wedding. He'll be back tomorrow evening. Wow. So,
listen, it has been an absolute joy talking to you, catching up with you. These are far from normal interviews. These conversations we have with you guys, I think help us, not just us in the media, but the fans that watch. And they watch, and then we use part of the interview on television. But the fans that watch it, they get a better sense of who you are, and perhaps I think it's easier to get behind you more than just, as a winner on the map, but, the kind of guy that you really are. And I think today maybe we broke down some of those barriers to letting people have a better understanding of who you are, how hard you work. There's a sense of loneliness in training as hard as you guys do, and we realize that. And I think it would be we'd be remiss if we didn't tell you how much we appreciate the work you do put in to realizing your goals. I guess the final question is, and it would seem to be obvious, but are you happy?
I'm very happy. I'm doing what I love. When I was growing up, I honestly couldn't wait for this opportunity where I'm just out there. I'm being able to travel the world. I've been given such great opportunity to be able to do things that I do and the ability that I have. And honestly, I'm enjoying it. I get to travel. I get to meet new people all the time, make new friends, and just I'm training and becoming the best that I can be to represent my country.
Yeah, and there's nothing like a 97-kilo guy sitting in coach for 13 straight hours.
Yeah, well, I love what I'm doing. I'm going to keep on doing it. So,
and believe me, if you're not maybe I'm a little closer to the 125-kilo guys, and I'll do whatever I can to get bumped up. I tell you that. I just want the bigger chair. Just give me the bigger chair. All right. Last movie you saw?
Last movie? I think it might have been The Purge 2, the second Purge movie.
Second Purge movie, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I always like to get a good handle on what our guys are doing right now, what they enjoy doing. Do you read a lot?
No, I don't do a whole lot of reading. I try to get outside when I can, just enjoy hanging out with some friends. I do like to go to the movies and hang out. I'm not a big reader. I'm done with school, so I think I'm done with reading for a while as well.
You know what? I think wrestlers, for the most part, whether it's physical, as they're being taught, and as they focus on their careers, I think they are lifelong learners, whether they know it or not. But anyway, today has been an absolute joy for me. I'm so glad that Adidas said, what about Dustin Kilgore? And I said, yeah, that'd be a good one. Let's get Dustin Kilgore. And so far, 35 minutes have gone by, and it feels like it's only been a few minutes. I appreciate the time you spent with us today.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity for the interview, and I hope to talk to you again.
In closing, who do you want to thank? Besides the obvious, Jason Gillis, perhaps, Tim Gardner at Adidas, who else do you want to thank?
You know, honestly, I have to thank my family and my coaches, everyone who's ever helped me to achieve my goals. I've had a lot of people that have influenced me in my life, a lot of coaches, but you know, every coach has done a little bit to help me here and there. And my parents and my grandparents, since I was little, they'd take me up to practices so I could get better. And you know, honestly, your family and friends are a huge influence on you. So I'd like to thank all of them, my mom and my dad, and definitely my grandparents. It's been a you know, they've done a lot for me. They've given up a lot of their own time to get me to the level that I am at.
Any truth to, and this is the final question, is there any truth to the rumor out there that you may be looking post amateur wrestling as at a career in professional wrestling?
No, no, not at all. Not looking at it. We'll see what the future brings for me, but that's definitely not what it is.
I think you do well. You've got a former Kent State alum making some big money,
Right? Yeah,
right?
we do.
All right, so here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a bag of frozen browns or speckled. Rainbows are good too, but a bag of those, maybe 4 or 5 in a bag. Put them in a freezer. Send them to me FedEx. Are you good for that?
Sounds good. I'm headed up to Estes Park tomorrow. We'll do a little fishing on a stream, so I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, listen, I appreciate the time, Dustin. Thank you so much. Best to your family and best to your teammates. It's been an awful lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.